There you go.
Hi,
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good as well, thank you. How's your Sunday going?
Pretty chill, actually. It's been
That's good.
really hot in LA this weekend, so it's just been trying to stay cool, staying
Mm,
inside.
yeah,
How
that's
about
good.
you?
It's been good. It's been also pretty chilling. On Friday, I got sunburned my whole back and my arms, so that's why I was like, no, I'm just gonna stay inside for now. So
No, a good plan. Sunburn on your back is the
it's the
worst.
worst. It's the worst thing ever. And the thing was, on Friday was the birthday for my mom. So we went to this park in which they had swimming pool and like a lot of cool things to do. So we were in the swimming pool, relaxing with the family. And then one of my little cousins was like, "Are you gonna wear, like a sunblock?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm fine." But
I'll be
then
good.
later on to the day, you know how it goes. Later, you're like, yeah, I feel okay. And then in the night, right when I was going to bed, I was like, no, there's something wrong here.
Oh no, that's the worst. Oh my gosh, hi Chelsea. Yes, I do remember you. Hi. That's
So
so
yeah,
funny. Uh, yeah, no, I hate sunburn.
yeah, me too.
And
Me
then
too.
it's all it's getting better. It's all
Yeah,
itchy, and then you're all ugh.
yeah. All day I've been like trying to not itch. Every now and then I would be like doing something, and then I'm like, oh crap, here we go again. Here we go again.
No.
Right? But anyway, so let's get started. Today we got Brittany here in the building. Thank you so much for being here. Um, Before we start, let me give you an epic introduction here. So here we go. That is my intro. I'm still working on it, but soon it's gonna be amazing. I'm super sure of it. But anyway, um, yeah. So let's get started. So first of all, I think you're an amazing, talented, super person. But tell me, how did your passion for acting started? I mean, did you always wanted to become an actor, or was it something like you discovered along the way?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I actually always enjoyed performing,
Mm,
but when I went to college, I actually started learning how to do behind the scenes stuff. So I was learning to be a set designer, a lighting designer, a stage manager. So I was doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And then I was running a theater company,
oh
uh,
wow.
stage managing, yeah, in North Carolina. And I got really burnt out. Like I
Mm,
worked a lot, and I was like,
yeah.
and I was working with a company that there were some great actors, but then there were some not great actors, which
Mm.
happens. And I was like, I could do this. I think that'd be way more fun. They seem like they're having a lot more fun than I'm having, so maybe I'll give this a try. And I did, and I loved it. So I stuck with it, and I moved to Seattle and was doing theater and film there, and I just loved it and kept doing it, and it was just so much fun, and people were responding well, and so here I am doing
There you
theater
go.
full time.
Wow, that's so really cool. And in 2012, you were in a video call in the first few days. Was that like your first acting job?
That was my first on-camera job. I
Okay.
had done some smaller theater shows, like local theater shows and stuff. But yeah, that was my first film, my first feature film specifically. And yeah, I learned a lot doing that. And the guy who did it, I didn't know this. He likes to make B horror movies, so I had no idea what I was getting into. Um, so it was really fun, and I got to meet a lot of really cool people, which was exciting.
Wow. Wow, that's really awesome. And then in 2014, you were in Chop Sucky Boom, playing as Madison. So tell me, how did you got the role, and how was the experience of playing a character for a web series?
Yeah, so a couple of friends of mine were running that web series. They had been doing it for years, and they said,
Mm,
"Hey, we're having some auditions. We think you'd be really fun for this. Come on in," because I was doing a couple of theater shows with
mm,
them. And so I went to the audition, and it was a different kind of character than I usually play. She is very prissy and very like rich and kind of like the mean girl. which I don't usually play. So that was really fun. And it was, we got to go on a green screen. I did that for the first time. So that was super fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a blast. You know, working with your friends, I think, is always the most fun.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what was your reaction when you knew you were going to play as Madison the Maroon Monkey?
Oh, they just told me it was Madison, and then I was like, what do you mean? She's like kind of a ninja as well.
Yeah.
What? That's so cool. So that was really exciting because I love that kind of action type of stuff. Like the movies I love watching are all like action driven, and you're doing, like fun actiony things. So it was cool to be a part of something like that, even though it was a comedy.
Yeah, I agree. And then in 2016, you were in a video game called Rapids. Now, was that your first video game? And what are some of the voices you did?
Yeah, so Rapids was really interesting because it's an app, a video game app teaching kids how to read.
Oh, wow.
And for Amazon, yeah. And so it was playing characters in these different kids game or kids stories. So, it was a lot of like, hi, what are we doing today? I don't know. Like things like that.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the visuals and the kids can read along the story that you're performing.
Wow.
So that was really fun. But that was technically my second video game I did. My first one was, do you remember when the Switch came out? They had that game, the 1-2 Switch, where it's teaching you to use the controllers and stuff. So I did a lot of the voices for that. I was one of the females. So like, the dance pose game. I was like, pose, okay, go, 1, 2.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, so that was my first video game with Nintendo, which was really cool. And that was so much fun. I feel like that really hooked me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this more often. Yeah,
of course. Wow. And how was the experience to working to do this game for Nintendo? I wonder.
It was really cool. The team was so nice, and they were so supportive, and the cool thing I like about Nintendo is they really enjoy working with new talent. They don't always pick the same talent over and over again. I mean, they have their favorites, of course. But and they're very encouraging, and the whole team was there. Like I got to meet the writers and the producers.
So cool.
So it's very collaborative and very fun.
Yeah, and did you have to do that in LA, or you went to Japan, or?
Yeah, so the Nintendo is located actually up in Seattle. So I did that
Seattle.
When I was living in Seattle. Yeah, their American hub, I guess. Is up near Seattle, and so because it was a smaller game, they were casting out of Seattle, and I happened to be there. And that my husband actually worked at the recording studio where they were recording it. Yeah. So it was a cool little thing.
Yeah, that's so nice. So you were pretty much at the right time at the right place.
Exactly.
So cool. So
cool.
cool.
I feel like that's how it happens for a lot of people, especially in voiceover and in all that stuff. Right time, right place. I mean,
I agree.
When I did Fire Emblem 3 Houses, I had just moved to LA. I met someone in an acting class, and they were like, hey, you should meet my friend Patrick. Let me give you his email. Patrick just so happened to be the director for Fire Emblem 3 Houses that I didn't know at the time. And I sent him my stuff, and he was like, you know what? We're actually having auditions. I like your stuff. Come on in. And that's how I got into the whole Fire Emblem thing, which is great.
That's so awesome. Wow. Now, in 2016, that same year, you played as Shannon for A Bad Summer of Tomatoes. And then in 2017, you were in another video game playing as Ingrid and Lena in Fire Emblem Heroes. So tell me, what was your reaction when you saw how those characters looked like, and how did you came up with a voice for them?
Yeah, so the cool thing with Fire Emblem Heroes is actually I didn't do those characters until 2020.
Oh.
Because I did a DLC for the game.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that was really cool. So I actually recorded Fire Emblem Three Houses first, and then they brought in Ingrid for a DLC for Fire Emblem Heroes, and then I got cast as Lena as well, which was really crazy. But it was so cool. Like, I love the Fire Emblem series, and seeing the artwork was crazy. I had no idea what Lena looked like. I had no idea what Ingrid looked like until partway through the recording process, which was really cool. So it was like, oh my gosh, my voice for those characters.
So
That's
cool.
so cool.
That's so cool. And I wonder what is like, how is it feel when you see like those characters and you're like, I gotta do the voice for them? Like, how you prepare, like, for, I mean, do you get like do you think a little bit about their background, or how does it usually work in order for you to get the voice for a character?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So for like the auditions, for example, they sometimes send you the picture, so that's always nice. For these, I didn't have a picture, so they just described them. Like Ingrid, they described her as a knight. She's young. She wants to, she loves eating. She's very gung-ho about being athletic and training. And so when I came in for that, they said, actually, we love your natural voice. Can you stick to that? And I said, okay, sure. So I did. So cool. Then, so that's what they loved for Ingrid. And then for Lena, specifically, they wanted something a little more ethereal. So I made her a little breathier, a little sweeter than Ingrid. And so when you're getting these breakdowns, they give descriptions of what the character is, and you just kind of find things that feel right. I know that's a silly answer, but it just feels right. Is the character super sweet? Are they kind of more tomboy and rough and tumble? Yeah. Or are they younger? Are they older? You know, so you just kind of pick some things and just go for it and say, you know, I hope this works. I mean, when I auditioned for Fischl for Genshin Impact, the voice I auditioned for, or the audition I sent in, her voice was a lot older than what we ended up with.
Oh, okay.
And so when I came in once I got cast and they brought me in to start recording for her, they were like, actually, we've decided to make all the characters a lot younger. Can you just make her younger? And I was like, oh, okay, sure, yeah. So then you just put it up here and just make her a little younger, as opposed to, you know, in her.
So cool. Wow, that's really cool. And so you did the English voice for Naoko in 90s Short Walk On Girl, and for Glory Surio in Oko's Inn. Now tell me about that experience. I mean, how long it took those two projects, and what did you like the most about those characters?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So Glory was my first anime for Oko's Inn. That was the first anime I ever did. And I was so nervous. I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm intimidated. I love all the movies these people do. Yeah. Like, don't mess this up, Brittany. My husband will tell you, when the movie came out, I was convinced they had replaced me. I was like, they hated me. They replaced me. I'm not going to be in. I didn't invite anybody to the screening. It was just me and my husband and my longtime best friend, who was also here in LA with us. And we went to the theater, and I was just like this the whole time. Oh my gosh! And then when her first scene, I heard my voice. I was like, they kept me.
That's so cool.
Which is so silly. I mean, I don't know why I was so nervous that they had replaced me. It was just one of those things that I was like, did I do a good job? I don't know, because it was my first one. But I loved that whole process of recording and doing something so dramatic and emotional. The story is beautiful, as opposed to Night is Short, Walk On Girl, which is so funny and bizarre. But I love that movie so much. When we were recording it, I hadn't seen it yet, and they were like, okay, so this movie's weird. We're just gonna jump around to your scenes. We might not know what's going on. It's gonna sound a little funky. Just roll with it. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll just see what happens. So when it came out with the dub and I watched it, it was really cool to see it all together. I was like, oh, I get it now. I understand what they were talking about.
Yeah. I actually, while I was doing the research, I also searched a little bit about the director, and it turns out that he usually will make like those type of movies. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it was super fun. And the dubbing company who does all the English for a lot of those films, or the two that I worked with for Night is Short and Okozen, NYAV Post, they do some great stuff, and their directors are phenomenal. So it was really cool. I learned so much working with them. It felt like, even though I was in the job, doing the job, it felt like a master class, because I was just learning so much about how to act for anime.
Wow. Oh, and yeah, I agree that when you do that thing that you love the first time, you're gonna feel like super extremely nervous. I mean, I remember the first interview I did, it was with Paula Rhodes. I mean, from the outside, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, of course. But from the inside, I was like, oh my god, you know. And I was just trying not to. And even though when we were done, I was like, I don't want to watch the interview now. I mean, you know, I was getting like super nervous the whole time. But yeah, I agree. But it's nice. I think that once you're done, you feel like you feel like amazing that you could pretty much take the world right now, you know. So.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like one of those things that it's kind of like stage fright, right? You're like, oh my gosh, it's going to be terrible, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
but then you do it and you're like, I did it. Nothing happened. Nothing went on fire.
Yeah.
No one cried unless we were supposed to. Like, it all worked out.
Yeah, but it's really nice. Yeah, that type of experience, I would say that it's one of those moments that you actually feel alive, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah. Now, you were so you did additional voices for the movie called Yucatan. So you did the English version for Anyara, and you also give the English voice for Mimaroven. So tell me how that process works. I mean, both of those films are in different language. So how do you prepare to come up with the voice and tones to deliver such amazing performance?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So the cool thing with live action dubbing is they want you to sound as real as possible. And so with a lot of it is they don't want you to put on a voice. They want it to be kind of your voice, and then you just embody the character a little bit more. So I feel like the auditioning process is a lot more. You send in your audition, and then for a couple of those projects, Netflix then has to approve your voice for that character. And for some of them, the original language production team has to approve your voice. I did a show, which I found out recently, a show called Vida Perfecta on HBO. The woman who I'm the English voice of, she's also a producer of the show, and she had to approve my voice to make sure that I sounded how she wanted to sound in English. Okay. Which was so interesting. So yeah, for those, most of them it's just me. It's either a little bit younger, and so it's just a little brighter, and then some it's just like, yeah, what do you want? Okay, great. And it's a more like angry. I call it angry me, where it's like laid back. I haven't had coffee yet. What do you want? Kind of thing. But that process is so fun, because I mean, you're when we're recording it, we're watching what the actors in the original language are doing, and I'm hearing what their performance is like, and I'm having to try and match whatever their performance is like. Because if the person I'm voicing has their arms crossed and is like huffing, I have to do that as well and make it feel real in English.
Oh, wow. So during that process, you will be doing all those type of emotions, like crossing the arms, like stuff like that.
crying, chewing, humming, anything like that. We're having to do as well, and like breaths and like snorts, like anything that comes out of their mouth, we try and match. So it's
cool.
A challenge, but it's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I bet that.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, it helps that I come from an on-camera background, so it's easy to kind of figure it out and be like, oh, I see what they're doing. Cool.
Now, in 2019, you did Licia for Pokemon Masters. Now, tell me, what was your reaction when you knew you were going to be in a Pokemon game? And did you audition for another characters as well, or just for that one?
Yeah, I freaked out because what they do is when you get auditions for big games like this, they give them code names. So we have no idea what the game actually is.
Okay.
So I had no idea it was for. They like suggested it, and I was like, maybe. I don't know. So when I booked it, I was like, oh
that's
gosh,
for a Pokemon. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And so that was really exciting, and because I've been such a big fan of the show and had grown up watching, all the Pokemon shows, and having the cards and all that stuff. So it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, and so in other words, you are in the Pokemon universe, right?
Yep, exactly.
That's so cool. Now, you also did Nancy Drew for Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem. Now, tell me more about that experience. What kind of game is, and can you tell me more about your character?
Yeah, so the Nancy Drew games are computer games that are point-and-click games. So you're solving mysteries, and you're trying to find who the bad guy is, and looking for clues, and talking to people. And so they had been doing a bunch of Nancy Drew games over the past 15, 20 years, something like that.
Wow.
So they've done a ton of games. And so what they did is I replaced the woman voiced her. So I was the new guy, which was kind of cool. And I read all the Nancy Drew books growing up, which was really cool. And I've been such a big fan of the character. So being able to voice her was just insane. It was just so neat.
Wow. And how long it took, like that process, how long it took in order to be ready? Like, did you have to do how much of the voice acting you did? I mean, did it took like a year, 2 years?
Yeah, so that process was really crazy because it's such a big franchise. So it actually took about 4 years until I was officially cast and I was the character. So when I was living up in Seattle, I had auditioned, and I didn't know it was for Nancy Drew. I knew it was for one of the games, but I thought it'd be a friend or something. Yeah. They brought me back for a callback like months later, and I did a callback, still thinking it was for a friend of Nancy. And then a couple months later, I didn't hear anything, so I was like, I didn't get that. They came back and they took me out to lunch, and they were like, hey, so we're thinking about you, you're one of our top picks to be the new Nancy Drew. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Oh my God, freaking out. Yeah. I met all the team, and we, chatted through all the things. And then I moved to LA, and we had lost touch and everything. And then a new audition came out for Nancy Drew, and I saw it, and I was like, I know exactly what this is for. So I auditioned again, and they said, hey, you're in our top selects. We want a video from you. So I had to send in a video as well of me interacting and talking and answering some questions. And then I got the phone call that they officially wanted to have me voice Nancy, and I started. They were like, we want you in the booth next month to start recording. So it was a very long process, and through all those years, I wasn't able to talk about it. I wasn't able to say, oh my gosh, look at this thing I did, until the game came out, which was crazy. So it was very cool. It was a crazy experience, and I'm so happy to do it because, I mean, I just love the whole Nancy Drew universe.
Yeah, of course. And how you prepare to keep up the secret? I mean, how you manage to not say a word even though you want it, but you can't? Like, how you manage that?
It was so hard. I was like, oh, I just can't talk about it. I just wanted to shake everybody and be like, oh my gosh. It helped. I mean, my husband knew, so I got to talk to him about it. So it wasn't as bad, but like, I couldn't even tell my family because I knew they would tell people. And I mean, you know, if it ends up on social media, someone's going to see it and it's going to not be a good thing. So, because my NDA was so long, it was like 10 pages.
Wow.
So yeah, it's hard to keep secrets.
Yeah, I bet. And especially like in those type of projects that they've been for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now,
I mean, it's still hard. Like with new projects that I've been working on, you know, I'm like, I want to talk about it. It's so cool. But you know, we gotta wait till the game comes out or until.
But you can.
Out, so.
Wow, and I wonder what is like. How does it feel when you see like people reaction and they get like so excited about it, and then you start to see like some people doing fan art or even cosplay, and you can't say anything. Like, how does it feel to see like all that hype going for a character that is you pretty much?
It's so hard. Like I have to like, especially with Twitter and stuff, I have to be really careful about not liking fan art or anything until after things are announced, because then people are like, oh, this voice actor liked this thing, oh, she must be the voice, oh my gosh. And so I'm like really careful about not doing any of that until it's officially announced, because I don't want anybody to get in trouble or to have something
of course
spoiled or any of that stuff. So it's it's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I bet that maybe sometime you will be like putting your phone away and be like, I'm gonna be out of social media until this gets released, right?
Yeah, it's so funny. I think if for anyone who's paying attention, there's so many people on social media, but I mean, if you were watching my social media, if there are weeks that go by and I don't do anything, I don't post anything or anything, it usually is a good indication that I'm working on something pretty big and I don't want to like
say anything,
spill beans on accident or anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must be pretty hard. I mean, if I were like in your shoes and then to see like all these people hyping a character that it's gonna be you're gonna be like, yeah, it's true. Yeah, I will be like putting my phone away and be like, I'm just gonna be out for a while, and now once it's done, then yes, definitely I will.
Well, it was like when Rainbow High came out this year, and my character Bella, she halfway through the season she got expelled from school, and the fans were so upset. Like they were so upset that she's gone. They were like, "Is Bella coming back? Oh my gosh!" And I knew that she was because I had already recorded the end of the season, and but I couldn't say anything. I couldn't be like, "Oh no, don't worry, she's coming back."
Yeah.
I didn't want to spoil it.
Yeah, of course. Wow. And so you were also in Seiken, the Densetsu 3 Trials of Mana, and NBA 2K21, and then Genshin Impact came as you play. You played as Fischl. Now, tell me, what do you like the most about that character? The one in Genshin Impact.
About Fischl and Genshin Impact?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love her. She's so kooky. Have you played the game yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fischl's lines are insanely long, and she uses like really long words and speaks in German sometimes, which is bananas. I do not speak German, which they knew when they cast me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she was going to be speaking German, so that was a fun surprise on the first day of recording. Yeah, I love how she speaks her mind about anything, even if and she's kind of a brat about it sometimes. But she really cares about people that like her friends she really cares about, and so she has this really big heart, but she covers it up with being kind of a brat, which I just think is hilarious. And I mean, half of the lines when we're recording, half of the time I have no idea what she's saying. I have to be like, I'm sorry, what is this word? What does this mean? These words, I've never even heard of this word, and it's in English. I don't know what this word means. So we always have to have like a dictionary nearby or a translator to be like, oh, that's what this is. So the writing team has been really great, helping me with that and figuring out, oh, this is what she's talking about, or this is what this German means.
Wow. And for NBA 2K21, I mean, how did you got the gig?
Yeah, I auditioned for that a bit ago, and then I think they wanted me to do some like background voices, so like yeah, that's a foul, no way, you suck, like that kind of stuff. And it happened. I recorded that during COVID, and so I think the reason, because it happened pretty close to when lockdown happened. So I already had a home studio, and I know their timeline was super tight. And so that's how I got introduced to them, because they were looking for actors with home studios. And I had one, and they liked my voice, and so naturally.
You got it. And what other kind of projects you did at home due to COVID?
Yeah, so Genshin Impact, all done from my home studio. The Ingrid, all of her summer DLC stuff for Fire Emblem Heroes, all done from my home studio. What else? Gosh, I'm like, what has come out yet that I can talk about? Oh, Pokemon Journeys, all of the Sonia stuff for Pokemon Journeys, that was all done from my home studio as well. So, yeah, and a lot of stuff that hasn't come out yet that I will be able to talk about in a few months, I recorded from home. So yeah, lots of stuff. It was a unique challenge for sure, but luckily my husband's a sound engineer, so he was able to help me run sessions and do all of that stuff, and that made it a lot easier for me, so I didn't have to like, oh, I'm too loud on this, or oh, I got to set up all the tech. Like he saved me on many occasions by doing all that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, you will have to say the line and then listen yourself and be like, no, I need to change this, and then go back and be like back and forth. Yeah, that must be. Yeah, that's really cool. And tell me how you usually prepare to play a character.
Yeah, so it depends on the character. So if it's a character, it's kind of all over the place. So if it's a character that I know what it is, I know I've auditioned for it already, and they booked me off my audition, I already have kind of a baseline to start from. Okay. And so if it's I always warm up. No matter what I'm doing, I always make sure to do like a 15 to 30 minute warm up, so that, you know, my voice is all nice and warmed up. So if I have to yell or do anything like that, I don't injure myself. And then emotionally, if I know it's going to be a very emotional day, because of the project or the character is just very emotional, I always make sure to not book anything afterwards, or to like have some time to myself so I can just like let go of emotional stuff. And yeah, meditate, like stretching and meditating beforehand is always very helpful, kind of get me in the zone. Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of the most of what I do. A lot of times, if I've auditioned for something and they booked me off that voice and that's the voice they want me to use, when I get into the session, they'll play me samples of that so I can remember what that voice sounds like and what they want it to sound like. So that way I have a place to start. Sometimes going in for projects, I have no idea what they're doing. They're just like, hey, we booked you for this project, whatever it's called. I didn't audition for it, or I did, but it was called something different. And so I show up and they're like, hey, you're playing these 10 characters that you don't know what they are. And so we figure it out as we go, which is really fun. And a challenge for sure. That's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, of course. And do you take parts from previous characters that you played to come up with a voice for new ones?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. I'm definitely one of those actors that all of my characters come from myself in one way, shape, or form. I'm not like D. Bradley Baker or someone who has like a million different voices pull from like, and you're like, how does that all come out of the same dude? That's crazy. I am not at that level. So I always think of either I have a couple of characters that I'm like, oh, this will be similar to this character. I'll make it like this, but a little nicer or a little more tough. Or I will think of characters in films or actors in films that I really connect to and make it my version of them, like a bad impression of them, type of thing. Or people I know from back home. I'm originally from North Carolina, and there's a couple of people that I definitely use as references for things, you know, like I have a cranky old woman who still is like tough as nails and she will mess your shit up. You know, so you pull from wherever you can, and it usually ends up working out.
Yeah, of course. And like the other day I was watching that there are some actors too that they will take reference from what they from where they live, or people they knew in the past, from teachers, or I don't know, like they are taking parts from different people they've met, and that's how they come up with a voice, or even like the mocap for actors. For characters. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it helps. It does a lot of the work for you.
Yeah.
Because you already know this person. Like, you know them. You know how they feel. You know how they would react to something. You know what their mouth is doing. And you don't have to, like, create it from scratch. Because with, I think the challenge of voice acting, especially for people who are new to voice acting, is it's more about the character, and it's more about the acting and creating something that feels real, more so than what is your voice doing. So even though you have like a crazy voice that's awesome, it's crazy, you have to make them feel real, like they have real emotions, and that we can, as an audience, we can connect to them. And so it's like finding the balance between the two. So when you're using people that you already know or have some sort of relationship with, it already helps make it feel even more real, because you're pulling from something that is real.
It is real, of course. Yeah, it's a lot easier. True. Wow. And tell me how you usually prepare for an audition. I mean, do you have like a go-to meal before, or do you listen to like do you have like your playlist to prepare for an audition, or how do you usually prepare?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. Well, I warm up. For sure. And then I am one of those people that, depending on what I'm doing, music is a huge thing for me. So if it's, if I know I'm auditioning for something that's tough and like battle chatter, and I have to be like, let's get stuff done, let's kill this dude, whatever, I definitely have my go-to metal playlist that I listen to.
That's so cool.
I mean, I'm a big fan of like hard rock and metal. Like that's kind of where I grew up, what I grew up listening to. And then if I'm doing something that's more animated, like for Disney or Nickelodeon or something fun and kooky, I usually I have some show tunes from like Disney movies, or from fun musicals that I'll like sing along to and do crazy voices with and stuff like that. So yeah, that's usually what I do. I'm sure.
Wow.
And then I have coffee. Coffee always helps. Gives me energy.
Yeah, of course. Wow. And what do you like the most about acting and doing voiceover?
Ooh, I love connecting with people in a different way. I think for me, I love characters that really are go on a journey. You know, they're either an underdog or there's something that they're trying to overcome. And I love seeing how that connects with other people and that it affects them, you know, how it, you know, can maybe make someone feel better about their situation or maybe make them think differently about something that they're going through. That's always been a big thing for me because I know it always helps me. I learned so much from the characters that I'm voicing. And it's fun, you know, I love it's challenging and there's a lot of rejection and it's freaking hard, but there's not, I've done a lot of different jobs and worked in a lot of different fields, and this is the one where it all feels worth it to me. You know, even if I like get a lot of no's, I don't book anything for a little bit, I'm still like, okay, I'm ready to try it again. Let's learn some more. Let's try something different and see what happens. And that always feels really good for me.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, and also the fact that you, I mean, now that you mentioned that you might get rejected, but then you get like the feedback in order for the next one, you will be like more prepared for the next one. So my question here is, so from all those times that you're gonna be rejected, do you take like the feedback, or do you like prepare from those possible mistakes or whatever that happened, and in order to become like a more professional for the next one?
Yeah, I mean, I take every audition as a learning experience, right? And I feel like with acting, any kind of acting, it's all about the journey. You're going to be learning something new every time. Each project, super new. Each character, super new. You're going to learn something super different about yourself or about, what you still need to learn. You know, there's always something new to learn. And for me, I never take it like when I don't book a role, I don't take it as you suck. You know, you shouldn't be doing this. I never take it as that. It's always like, okay, either I wasn't right for this project and someone just was the right voice and had all the magic stuff that you could never account for, and it just worked out for them. Or, you know what? I didn't get that joke, but I get it now. Oh, that's what next time I see something like this I'll make sure to look for the joke or add in efforts or whatever it is. And so I always take it as a learning experience. And I think that's what makes you a better actor. I mean, it makes you, of course, makes you more attractive for more projects. The fact that you're always willing to learn. And I mean, even people at the top of the top who are, you know, your Tara Strongs and your Yuri Lowenthals and all those people, I mean, they're always learning and they're always willing to learn and open to things. And I think that's part of the fun.
Yeah, of course. Wow. And has it happened to you you were going to do the voiceover, and then some of your co-stars will be like, the reason why I'm asking you this is because the other day I was with a friend of mine and we were like talking about this, and then he was like, dude, can you imagine do a game with Troy Baker? And I would be like, and I was like, I would be in shock. I would be like, first of all, dude, I'm a huge fan, and then I would be, you know, like a little bit intimidated. So but I think at the same time you will be able to learn like a lot from them, right? So having the experience to work with someone that has like a longer career, let's say, can also help you to become you could take like part from that person in order to be like in a better level, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been in workshops before where people, not Troy, but you know, people at that level, like Vanessa Marshall and a couple of other people, where they are there to learn, and I learn just from watching what they're doing, and being like, oh my gosh, that's how. Oh, I get it, and I just. Oh, she's super physical behind the mic, or oh, he takes a minute and thinks about it and then goes into it. Yeah, so it's these little tricks and stuff that you see other people doing, and the things that resonate and that feel good, it's like, oh, I'm gonna try that. Maybe that'll work for me too. And some stuff does and some stuff doesn't, but it's all about the trying different things and experimenting, for sure.
Wow. And tell me, what do you like the most about acting for an anime TV show or a movie?
Oh my gosh, anime is so fun. It's so challenging because, you know, you're trying to be an actor and make the choices and make the character feel real in English while matching all the mouth flaps, which is so challenging.
Of course.
Some languages, you know, it would translate into American English like no way, but they have a lot more mouth flaps because it just takes longer to get there in whatever the language is. So that's always an interesting challenge. But I love the storytelling of anime. How even if the story is pretty simple, you know, I'm a big fan of. Have you seen the show Haiku?
Yeah.
The volleyball one.
Yeah.
It's about a volleyball team, right?
Yeah.
It's, you know, on the surface, it's like, oh, it's just about a volleyball team, but it's so dramatic and it's so interesting, and the characters are so specific that you're like so invested. And I love that about anime. Every project I've done, and there's a couple that are coming out later this year that I'm so excited about. The storytelling is so good, and the animation is beautiful. So yeah, that'd be my favorite part, I think.
That's so cool. And yes, I agree. I mean, that anime, they have like this thing that they make things like so epic and so emotional, and I mean, personally, at first I wasn't a fan of anime, but one of my best friends, he's like a super fan, and then one day he was like, watch this, and like 2 hours later, I was in his computer just watching, and he was like, dude, we need to go. And I was like, wait. So yeah, I agree.
I need to know what happens.
Yeah. It gets to a point that it's so epic and so emotional, and it's so with a lot of action going on, and you're like, oh my God, you know. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No, I 100%. It's great. I mean, the first anime show I ever saw was Cowboy Bebop. So good. So good. And then it's good. There's so much great content out there. It's hard to pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in one of your interviews, you mentioned that you're a fan of musicals. So tell me what would be like your top 5?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. Les Mis, definitely. I have seen Les Mis so many times. And that was the musical that got me into theater. Like, it was the first show I had ever seen, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I'm a big history nerd, so it feeds all of that. Let's see. So that'd be my first one. I love Wild Party by Andrew Lippa. That was on Broadway. Such a crazy musical. So much fun. I love all the jazz in that one. Let's see. Oh, this is so hard. I'm like going down my list of like, what do I... I should have thought about this more. I think, Spring Awakening. I really like that musical. I think that's a really good one as well. I saw that a few times and really good. I'm trying to think of like newer stuff. I'm like, all the things I'm saying are like so old. Matilda, the Matilda musical, so fun. And the Newsies I like a lot as well. The dancing in that is incredible.
Wow.
So
are you excited? And And are you excited to go back on to go back to see another musical once the whole restrictions of the COVID are done?
Oh yeah, 100%. I actually over COVID, my husband and I, we produce voiceover demos, and we worked with a couple of clients who are on Broadway, and so they had taken the year off. And we're just doing voiceover, and so we have like clients who are in. There's a new Britney Spears musical that's going to off Broadway, which he's in. A friend is in, which I can't wait to see. And then another one in. Oh my God, I forgot about Book of Mormon. Book of Mormon is so funny. That is absolutely one of my top picks. We know someone else in Book of Mormon, and this one's not a musical, but Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. So we're excited I'm excited to get back to the theater and, celebrate them and go see them in shows, because we have a lot of friends in New York, and yeah, I do miss the theater. There's an energy about it that you don't get watching TV.
Yeah, of course, absolutely, and also and if you could do the voiceover for any movie or video game, which one you would choose?
Anything DC animated, 100%.
Okay.
Batman, Justice League, any of those, 100%.
So cool.
That has been my dream for longer than I care to admit. And I did a couple of workshops with Wes Gleason, who is the voice director for a lot of those. And he's such a nice dude. And I'm just like, oh, I want to work with you so bad. Come on. So it'll happen one day. But yeah.
Let's make it trendy. Put Brittany on the DC hashtag. Put Brittany on the DC universe now. Let's make it trendy.
Yes, let's do it. I'm all about it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. And any movie or TV show that you could recommend?
Recommend? Rainbow High is a great animated show if you're into fashion and makeup. That's a fun one. Live action wise, I'm a really big fan of Prodigal Son. If anybody's into crime dramas, I love Prodigal Son. It's so good. And there's a crazy Mel Gibson movie that I watched recently. I know Mel Gibson is not, we're not all fans of Mel Gibson, but it's called Fat Man. It's about Santa, but it's like dark and really, he plays Santa, and he a little kid tries to kill him because he got coal in his stocking.
Okay. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, but it's really fun. That's recent stuff that comes to mind for shows. And I mean, if you haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, you need to watch that, because it's the best show ever. Not the movie, the TV show.
Wow. Now we have a quick question in the chat here that it says, thoughts on Bella.
Oh, Bella from Rainbow High, actually. Bella, yeah, I love Bella. She is it's the first animated character I have ever, original animation character I have ever voiced for a show, which is very exciting. And she's super cool. Yeah, I love how kind of girly she is, but she's also tough and isn't afraid to hammer something and build a set. So yeah, I think she's great.
Wow. And how do you what is the thing that you usually do after a hard working voice acting day? What is your number one thing that you do that because the reason why I'm asking you this is because the other day I was interviewing a voice actor, and then he told me the first thing I do is to go to McDonald's, get this huge burger and just eat it by myself, and I will be ready to go for the rest of the day. That was kind of funny though.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I'm not that exciting. I usually it's splash some water on my face because 9 times out of 10 it is 1,000,000 degrees and I'm like sweating buckets because I sweat like an old man.
Yeah.
And I will. I usually take my dog for a walk, like around the block, just to get outside and be out of my booth for a little bit and just clear my head and shake off whatever happened. Whether it was like I had to scream for a while or just talk. It's nice to like not talk for a little bit after a session. And other than that, yeah, that's kind of it. I'm sorry I'm not more exciting.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, everyone has like their own things too, so yeah. I mean, usually for me, after an interview, I will play with my dogs for like an hour or two, and then I'll be back to some other stuff. Yeah, I have 3. So
what kind of dogs?
The first one is a husky, but he's like a huge husky. I mean, it's not like the average size husky. And like probably what happened was when he was little, I used to, for example, if I order a pizza, I will order a small pizza for him, or stuff like that. So we were like kind of eating the same things. So at some point, I don't know what happened, but he got super huge, and I took him to the vet the other day, right? And then the vet was like, because I asked him like, hey, I mean, how is this guy very big? I mean, it's not usual the size. And then he was like, well, probably since you fed him human food, maybe all his organs mutated and you caused that. And I was like, okay.
Oh
so,
my God.
Yeah, he's like super huge, and it's funny because he has like this. He thinks he's small, which is not. So he will try to go under like small places, and he will drop everything. Yeah, he's gonna cause a mess. But besides that, yeah, he's really awesome. Then the second one, I adopted him. They were going to this guy. They ran over him. A car ran over him. So his leg was all busted, and they wanted to, they were going to put him, they were going to kill him because nobody wanted him. So a friend of mine who worked in that dog shelter, she was like, hey, I have this dog. Do you want him? So she sent me a picture, and I was like, yeah, I'll take him. So I adopted him, and he's like the most intelligent dog. Like, I mean, at least from the ones that I had, he's like super intelligent. He's quiet, but he only wants to play with his ball, or whenever when we go to bed, he will just wait until I'm in my bed, and then he will go on to the bed as well, but he will only take like a corner. He will just follow me everywhere, not doing a word. I mean, not saying anything. He's like super like I told my parents that maybe this dog, he was trained by other people, and probably he just got away and a car hit him because he's so well trained. And the third one, it's a pit bull. That one, they tied him in a pole in a mall. So I was leaving the parking lot, and then I saw this puppy, and then I was like, why nobody's, like, what is going on here? So then
why is there a puppy here?
Yeah, right, because he was just tied to a pole. So then I asked like the security guy, the people, like, hey, why there's a puppy there? I mean, what is going on? And he was like, we don't know. I mean, we saw somebody, but he hasn't come back. And I was like, okay. So then I went inside, bought some stuff, and then I came back like 2-3 hours later, and the puppy was there. And then I asked the security guy, like, hey, like, what is wrong with him? And then they were like, no one is coming. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take him. So I just took him in, and and I mean, the thing is that I'm struggling because since he's a puppy, and I have two adults, and it's been like a very long time since I don't have a puppy. It's kind of struggling because he's just breaking everything and running and peeing and pooping and making a mess. And he already destroyed my wallet, almost my cell phone, some headphones cable. Yeah, the cable from one of my headphones that I normally use. He destroyed it. So, but it's fine. It's fun, and the good thing is that the two dogs accepted him. So he's just playing. So he's just playing with them all the time. But yeah, having a puppy is like, I was
That's
like,
another challenge, man.
yeah, like a total another challenge. I told my mom the other day, like having kids or having a puppy, I will stay with a puppy because this is, you know what I mean?
Exhausting.
Like, yeah, it's just like he will wake me up at 5 a.m. because he wants to go to the bathroom. So, but wake me up, it's just like jumping to my face and start to lick. And so, yeah, but it's fun. But it's
That's
fun.
funny.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, mine is she's a black lab mix.
Oh.
She's 13, so she's an old girl.
Yeah.
And yeah, we rescued her when she was 5 because no
Wow.
one wanted her in the shelter. So similar story. And yeah, she's so sweet. She's very nervous, so she just likes laying in her little bed, going for walks, and that's it. She sleeps all the time, so she
Yeah.
has such a hard life.
Yeah, I know. Like every morning when you will go to work and you will go do something, and then you see the dog in the bed just laying, and you're like, I hate your life right now.
I know. Come on, I want a nap too.
Right? Now tell me, if you could give an advice to the 12-year-old version of yourself, what would you say?
Oh
Like
gosh.
if you could go back in time and then just say an advice to the 12-year-old version of yourself, what would you say?
Avoid dating Matt because you'll regret it. No, I think for me, I would tell myself to have a little more fun. I am a workaholic by nature. And I've always been that way. And I'm definitely one of those people. Even in, when I was younger and stuff, I was working all the time. I was either working on a show, I was in soccer practice, I was, doing homework, whatever it was. And I think I would tell myself, you can take more vacations, you can take time off, you can go have fun, you don't have to work all the time. Would probably be I'm starting to do that now. I'm getting better about doing that now. But
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And any advice that you could give to someone who is starting in the acting business?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so much. I think anyone, especially for like acting or voice acting, it's definitely a journey. And so perseverance is so important. And, I know a lot of people say this, but it really is true. There is no one way to do this. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. It's different for everybody. And so it's just kind of finding your path and going for it and trying stuff and being brave enough to take the leap and to keep going for it, even if you're getting a lot of no's. I mean, the thing that was in my career acting wise was in college. I had a college professor who was directing me in a show. It was the only show I was ever cast in college, and I was the lead. And the preview night, he pulled me aside during intermission and was like, hey, I'm going to cancel the show because you're such a bad actor. You're never going to make it, and you're a terrible person. You should quit. And I was really upset. I pushed through a wall, which, happened. Finished the show, did it. And for me, that was you know what? I'm going to prove him wrong. And I have. I don't think about him anymore, but I always take that as that was a moment where I could have either quit and done something else or continue on. And I decided for me to continue on and that I was going to prove him wrong because that wasn't, I didn't agree with him. And so, so I think it's important to know you're going to get a lot of no's, but that's okay. We all get a lot of no's. Like even people I've talked to, Dee, and I talked to a couple of other people at that level, and they still get no's. They still are told, they don't get all the auditions. They don't get all the jobs. Of course. We just see the ones that they do get. So we all get no's. So it's going to happen. It's all about the journey. It's not about the destination. And just, surround yourself with good people.
Wow. Yeah, and I think that maybe that most of people will not follow, their dreams or doing um, what they really loved in life because they might be afraid of what they say, or maybe because somebody told them at some point that you were the worst at that, or at whatever you're doing. So I think that, yeah, that one of the things that you have to like focus, right? Like, I want this, so I'm just gonna go for it no matter what, and just follow
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like force says it right. You should get no's. It's a healthy part of the process. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because we're not all right for all characters. Like for me, playing a very shy, quiet, uncertain character, I can't do it. I can't. I'm just like, it's so opposite me. And
Yeah.
I've tried so many times and I never get it. And I'm like, it's fine. That's just not a strength of mine, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wow. Wow. That's fair. I mean, I have to say that it's really, I mean, that most of the people here that is watching, that what you do is really amazing. I mean, we can't wait. We can't wait to see more of your awesome work, and also for you to be in the DC universe. I'm gonna make a hashtag on it for sure. Yeah, let's make it a hashtag right now. Let's bomb all the DC pages and be like, come on. I mean, it's time to do this.
So sweet.
But yeah, I mean, it's really awesome, and I do believe that, yeah, that you need to take the no's and you need challenges every now and then in the process, so you can understand, like, yeah, so you can understand, like, oh, maybe I'm doing this wrong, I'm gonna change to this, or maybe I need to do this instead of this, or be like, yeah, just to change. For example, for me at this day, it's super hard to me to see myself doing the interviews or to listen myself. It's super hard. I mean, I do it, but I would be like, oh my god, why? It's like so frustrating at some point. But I remember that is part of what you have to do in order to, like, to be like, okay, maybe this time I will ask this instead of this, or I'll do this instead of. So I do believe that you need all of those moments, and also like a lot of no's going on in the way, so you can be like more mature and to be like more focused. And also, it's a lot more exciting when you have every now and then some moments like that, because if you were having like all success like all the time, at some point you will not feel. I mean, you will not be grateful when you actually have a yes for something.
Exactly. I mean, it's getting all the no's. When you do get a yes, it's like, oh, this is so exciting. I worked so hard for this. Oh my gosh. It feels so exciting. So yeah, absolutely. And that's how you grow. You don't grow from things being easy or for things like just always coming. You grow from things being, from the challenges. You grow from the pitfalls that you have and the mistakes that you make. So
yeah, of course. But again, thank you, Brittany, so much for being here. It was really awesome and very inspirational as well. I mean, I that, like, having the chance to interview you and some other actors, for me, it's like a very grateful and amazing experience. So thank you. So
well,
definitely,
thank you for having me. Like, I felt so special that you invited me. Like that meant so much. So I thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, it is really amazing, like, to have like to be able to like the other day I told a friend when he told me, like, hey, did you interview this one? I was like, yes. What about that one? I was like, yes. And this one, I was like, of course, that as well. And then he was like, and how does it feel? And I was like, it feels amazing, because when you play those games, or when you see their work, like where they were playing a character, and you hear their voice and you see how they're doing all of this performance, you're like, oh, okay, now I understand why they say this, or now I understand, so it like when you see your work, now if I see it again, I would see it in a total different way now, so it's one of those things that I'm like, that is really amazing. So yeah, I just want to say thank you. All those who are watching, go follow her right now on all of her social media. You can stop watching this video, follow her, and then go back for sure. and we're gonna have this episode on podcast soon enough. Also, we got an amazing guest coming up tomorrow. I already announced it, but I'm gonna announce it later on. And again, yeah. And again, Brittany, thank you so much. Before we go, I need to send you also in an epic way. So here we go again with my epicness. There you go.
Yes, I love it.
There you go. So, yes, at some point that's going to be even more epic. I'm working on that. But anyway.
Hey, you know what? It's all about baby steps. All about
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, again, thank you. I can't wait to see more of your amazing job soon. We're definitely going to make this trendy. Brittany, DC, we're going to make that. You can count on that. And again, keep having an amazing day. And thank you for being an amazing super person.
Thank you for having me. And yes, everybody follow this account and all the things, because I've been checking all all your Instagram videos and posts and stuff. They're so good. So
thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. Me. Yeah. It's been really awesome. Like, I watched the first post I made to this one, like the first, and yeah, the fact that I love to see that, because then I can see how I started and how I'm going. Until at some point, I was a friend of mine told me, "What are you gonna do with the interviews at some point?" And I was like, you know what? I want to do it at some point, having like a show like Joe Rogan style, in which I can have the actor or the actress now in front of me, and we could be talking about random topics, stuff like that. And then he was like, "That would be cool," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm working on that." But
so cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. But anyway, keep having an amazing day. Give a hug to your amazing dog.
And give hugs to your dogs as well. Oh.
I will. I will take a picture soon, and I will upload it so you can see them, because they're a mess. But anyway,
so much. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too, and I'll see you on the next one then.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye.